Normally I like to do the, the thumbnail for my book haul videos being me holding like all the books in a really awkward stack, and it's gonna be really evident why that's not happening once this one starts. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm doing a probably belated kind of holiday winter kind of book haul, and a lot of this is going to be things that I either got as gifts or bought myself around the holiday season for some sales, as well as just a few other miscellaneous things that I've gotten during that time before or after as well. And there's quite a few books. A couple of these I probably mentioned because I did like my priority series as well, but because of all of the books that are coming up here, I will note as well, I am going to need to do a pretty serious adjustment and kind of organizing of my shelves, because a lot of these are other books in series or things that I want to get put on the shelf, and I'm gonna have to do something. So if you wanted to come hang out and chat as I organize my shelves, I'm going to be doing that live this coming Thursday starting around 5 Central Time, so definitely check it out if you are interested. But let's jump into the book haul. So starting with some specific Christmas gifts, because I've got a few piles here. We have We Men of Ash and Shadow by H.L. Tinsley, which was in SBFBO, so hard to say, finalist 2021. Andrew had sent this one to me for Christmas, and is one I know he had specifically talked about too, which I think is... I mentioned this in my priority one as well, and so this is kind of, I think, like a gas lamp type of thing with like secretive people searching. So is one I'm interested. A couple of others that I got, which I got in the 2 different gift exchanges. We did one for our mod team, one for all of Discord. Winds of Strife by U.G. Gutman, and Of Honey and Wildfires by Sarah Chornberth. Self-pub, this one being kind of a Western. Winds of Strife, which is kind of a very different one I talked about as well, where it's like witch hunting and that kind of thing as well. So both others that I've been really interested in getting to, and so those ones I did mention. So won't spend a ton of time since I talked about these in another video. All I'm pretty excited though for, so made some great picks, trying to figure out where to put these books once I talk about them, because there's too many. And then going into, let's grab this one first. So then, a fun thing, so, I have like people in real life know that I read and I like books, and some of my family has just started asking for my Amazon wish list because they know that I have one and I have books on it, and so they're like, okay, we'll just do that. I had though a friend who does not read at all, and so kind of like tangentially knows what kind of stuff I read, and was trying to like specifically get me a new book, and I can actually pick one out. And what he got me was Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Now, if you watch my channel, you know I'm really not a fan of Stephen King. I, of course, did not tell him this at all, because it was a really thoughtful gift, and I've heard mixed things on this one in general, but I will try this. So I will see. I know it is a Stephen King fantasy, so I'll see, and maybe I'll end up liking it. But I feel like there's actually a chance, since so many of Stephen King fans aren't a big fan of this book, maybe I'll like it as a non-Stephen King fan. So I just kind of thought that was funny and got that. And then there were a couple of things I got at the Barnes & Noble. They did the half-off hardcovers for the couple of days after Christmas. So I got this awesome 75th anniversary edition of The Hobbit, because I have a like paperback copy of The Hobbit, but I have a nice hardcover of Lord of the Rings, so I figured I'm like, I'll get this nice hardcover when it's half off. Can't beat that of The Hobbit. And then I snagged one of these cool Dune special editions, because these are nice, and I was tempted to get these before. This is the one that's got the Fears the Blank color there, with the really cool inner art. Once again, when it's half off, I'm like, hey, why not? Because I can finally get rid of my old, really beat up, old ratty paper copy of Dune that I've had for forever. So I thought that was kind of nice to get that too. And then, because I love the Barnes & Noble leatherbound, but I got there really late on the second day, so everything was pretty picked over. I grabbed one of the Barnes & Noble leatherbounds, which is the Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer, just because I love these. And they're not badly priced to begin with, and when it's half off, and I got this for like $12, I'm like, I couldn't beat that. So I love these on my shelf, so grabbed that one as well. Continuing with, well, this is going to be things I got and then some gifts. I did use, I had some like reward points and whatnot, so I used, after the absolute, absolute chaos and anger that was caused by me having the Faithful and the Fallen books set up super weird on the shelf. I decided, you know what, I'm finally just going to get the middle two. I had books 1 and 4 in the big size, and I had the others in the small size. So I have these. These are another thing that'll all need to go on the shelf, and then I'll have to, I'll be able to replace my small copies with the big copies. So more reorganizing, but I just decided to do this. So there you go. I know several of you were very upset with me. I have them now. So when we do the reorganizing, we'll make sure that they all get on there, and there's only one set, and it's the full size. And then something I was very excited for is I went and got, which were kind of hard to get online, but the rest of the Wars in Light and Shadow hardcovers that I don't have, barring the one book that you cannot get. So these, I got these two on A-books, and reminded me immediately of why I didn't get A-books, because they were shipped poorly, they were not as described, especially Initiate's Trial, which was not even shipped by the seller, and it's just kind of bent. And they're not horrible, but they were listed as being in like really good condition with no visible wear, and there's lots of visible signs of wear here. These also have like the kind of the newer art that took over for the paperbacks, and I kind of prefer the old art, but really excited to have these because I'm definitely going to be reading this whole series. I'm excited to go. And then the one I got on Amazon, which was listed as in fantastic condition, actually came that way from the seller there. Peril's Gate, which has that nice old style. And this is another really beefy one, but looks nice. So these are going to look kind of interesting. I feel like this. I already have some different styles on there, different publishers. I have 3 different publishers for the ones that are actually on there now, and then we've got some different ones here. These are EOS and Harper Voyager, so we're gonna continue mixing it up with the different kinds. So they're gonna look interesting, but they're definitely all going on the shelf because I'm pretty excited for. And then a couple of other ones I had gotten as gifts are Into the Narradark and Brothers of the Wind by Tad Williams. I had been wanting to add these to my collection because I have the rest as well, and so these will definitely be going onto the Tad Williams shelf. Also, this is from The Last King, Lost in Ard, and then this is like a prequel, a long-time prequel, but I love The Memory of Sauron, and so I'm still planning on reading Shadow March before I read Last King of Lost in Ard, but I've definitely been still collecting the books because I know I'm going to read them, and I'm very excited to do so. So that is those. And then we have the late addition to the gifts is, and then Andrew sent me a months early birthday gift, which I wasn't expecting because I'd made a joke that I needed to get copies of the series, and I'm like, maybe he'll read them and not like them and then give me his really nice copies. And he decided that to make space, he's probably just going to read them on ebook or audio, and sent me his Greenbone Saga hardcovers, including the one I knew he went through hell tracking down this original Jade City. Really excited because I didn't work on collecting these because I read them from the library in the same hardcovers, and so I was reading hardcover and I'm like, it's okay. But after Jade Legacy, definitely something that I wanted to get nicer copies of. So really, really excited for these as well, and those definitely will need to find a place on the shelf. And then we have some other things that I got from either Book Outlet or Half Price Books. My last Book Outlet order was actually okay, so I decided I would get a couple more things from there and try it out, and they also came okay. I bought some puzzles too, but those aren't in here because they're not a book, and I like puzzles. But so I grabbed Gormenghast and Titus Grown by Mervyn Peake, which are like the first two. I think there's at least one more books in the Gormenghast series. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm going to read these this year. It definitely won't be this year. But these are one I'm curious on because I know some people hate these, some people love these. It's supposed to be really interesting prose-wise, and I'm just curious, and they had them on Book Outlet, so I'm like, cool, we'll just grab them. Why not? Let's do it and find out. So we will get them eventually. I was able to get a full-size copy of The Warrior. I actually have an art copy I got from Andrew of this, but now that I have the full size, it'll match, and I can put that there. Nobody's complained about that yet, but The Warrior and The Coward are on the shelf separately, too, based on size. So I figured I'll get ahead of that one and get it. Then I grabbed, because I always love me my Paper Mill Classics, I grabbed this one of Three Musketeers, because I like Three Musketeers. I actually have read this one. I haven't read that many classics, but I read this after Count of Monte Cristo because I loved it, so I figured I'd grab this guy, which is probably going to be the by far thickest of the Paper Mill Classics that I have, but it'll look nice on the shelf. And then we have some stuff from Half Price Books. First being these first two books in a series that I've already forgotten. I looked up what it was called. I don't know. It's from a series, but we have A Conspiracy of Truths and A Choir of Lies. And these, for one, like the art I thought was interesting, and the spines, they look really nice. And I don't really know much about these, but I looked them up. And it's supposed to be, I think the first book starts with like there's like some sort of like bard or person who's imprisoned, and like the only way he can potentially get himself free is by telling a convincing enough story, is kind of how it started. When I looked these up to see what they are, because I've never actually heard of them, so definitely let me know if you know these books, I've read them, or just know more about them, because I was visually just kind of pulled to them and interested. And I looked at most of the complaints were it was too slow, and people just found it kind of boring at points. And I'm like, too slow is not normally a complaint that bothers me too much. So I'm like, you know what? These sound kind of interesting. So I decided to grab them here to go on the shelf. And then finally, I talked about, I did The Steel Remains, the first book in Land Fit for Heroes I got, because my half-price books that have book 3, The Dark Defiles, forever. They've had this like since I've lived where I've lived. They've had this for so long, and never had book 1 or book 2, just book 3. And then eventually I finally found book 1 somewhere else, and I grabbed it. And then this time I was in there and they had book 2 and book 3, so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to grab it because now I have the whole trilogy, so couldn't pass that up to complete that. Does add to another complete series I have, but I've not started reading, but we're not going to talk about that. This is a book haul. We'll probably have to do an on-haul at a later time. Don't worry. It's going to be coming, I am sure. But so that is everything from the holidays and just kind of the winter time that I grabbed. So, I mean, probably not the worst I've ever had by any means, but still quite a lot of books. Quite a lot of them that I'm going to need to find some room on the shelf. So like I said toward the beginning, if you want to come hang out, chat live while I'm reorganizing, and you can yell at me about where I'm putting stuff too, which I'm sure some people will really enjoy doing. Check out Thursday is going to be starting around 5 Central. I'll share the video once I have the link live as well. But going to be doing that and going through and getting some new stuff set up. So it's always interesting to do that. Normally I just do that on my own time, but several people had said that they like seeing live things, just kind of chatting and seeing that done. So I'm like, okay, why not? I will do it live this time, so check that out if you're interested in it as well. That's it for this one, though. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description, as always, for the Wizardly Duo Discord. If you want to chat books, whether any of these books, other books, any books, really anything at all, it is a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you. And, of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.